During the NAIC, I hosted a bunch of friends to come together and play some Pokemon. I thought this would be a great chance to get some practice in for Yokohama whilst also watching a fantastic live stream across the weekend, and we thought what better way to challenge ourselves and have a bit of fun was going to be having a double elimination bracket running as the tournament was going on. So we pitted together what we thought were the 7 best decks at the time, as well as throwing in United Wings, which have been doing well on day 1 of the NAIC stream, to fight it out against each other for a mystery prize. Now, I will say that this was a party atmosphere. There probably are going to be some mistakes on some of these streams. We were also, watching the stream along, having a good time, and probably not putting our all into some of these games. So if there are going to be mistakes, I'm going to try and highlight them in commentary, but it's just going to be one of those things. This isn't necessarily the highest standard of play. It's just something we did for fun over the weekend. Cube Koga is always in the link in the description below, where I will be trying to have even more up-to-date lists than the ones possibly even played in these tournaments. So that's always the best place to check out our lists. Now let's get into some games. So here we are. We have our first game. It's Jack on the left playing United Wings, and he's rolled into a Mew VMAX in this first round. Got to be a good feeling. United Wings definitely is that dodge and weave archetype, where you really don't have many answers against some of these Lost Zone variants, but have a ton of weaknesses that you can boast into other matchups, including, of course, the Mew matchup, where you have your Murkrow with Dark Energy that can be hitting for a crucial weakness. Jack gets to go first, is able to Ultra Ball, and is going to grab that Squawkabilly EX. This was, of course, over the NAIC weekend, so we were a little bit inspired by seeing Alex Szymanski on day 1. We quickly built this up to be our 8th deck for this little tournament. And I think possibly post-NAIC there won't be much United Wings, just because we're starting to see a ton of like Radiant Alakazam in Arc decks, and we're starting to see some Rapid Strike box. These are all kind of worse matchups for United Wings that popped up during that weekend. But regardless, it was a fun deck to see throughout the tournament, and it can be good in this sort of double elim environment, where if you just find the right matchups, you're going to be golden. Jack's having a pretty good start here, is able to Squawk and Seize, wasn't able to get rid of any Pokemon initially, but then was able to Insta-Flock with Flamigo and discard a couple of these to begin his quest of getting these Pokemon into the discard pile. Jack's also able to search out a Ralts early on, which is certainly helpful. The draw engine of the deck is going to be those Curliers, and of course the Psychic Gallade. But it's going to be a pass over to Rab, who is playing Mew. Very seasoned Mew player, very experienced with Mew. Typically prefers to play some coin flips, prefers to play some catchers and really go full high roll. But for this occasion, he's having to play these sort of mix and match of Path and Disruption supporters, as well as some Sparkle combos. Looks like Rap has a pretty good hand, actually. He has the Sparkle already, has Ultra Ball as well to go low, and leads with VIP Pass, so he's able to get this early Ice Cube as well as Mew, which I definitely like to see. He's able to get rid of Boss's Orders and Path of the Peak, 2 kind of clunkier cards, and just go for the Genesect straight away. I really like the early Sparkle here as well. Definitely makes a ton of sense. He wants to be using Block Slider, getting rid of Ralts, I think, are going to be a key piece of his strategy, especially because Jack has already used Squawk and Seize, is sat on a 4-card hand size, so if you deny the refinements, you're essentially denying the wings finding their way into the discard pile. Rab's going to be able to get a fresh 5-card hand here with a Power Tablet being spent. Not something you're worried about too much in the matchup, because you're going through vulnerable single prizes. Looks like a Cram is up next, and that's not valid because it's a tool card. Actually, he's getting rid of a Ultra Ball, which is surprising, but hits the heads, which is a pretty big high roll. Ultra Ball is actually a really valuable card just for thinning through the deck, but it looks like Rab's eyeing up the Escape Rope, so I have to imagine he has the next Fusion Energy in hand from this first Fusion Strike system. He's going to play the rope, goes into the free retreater of Mew. Jack brings up the Flamigo. See a Cleansing Gloves, and yeah, has the second Fusion Energy, so has the ideal turn 1 where he can pressurize Ralts from Jack here with this Ice Cube, and Jack with only 2 wings in the Lost Zone, in the discard pile, is really not doing much with this Ice Cube. It's going to be sticking around, I think. Rab has another Cram plus Ultra Ball. I'm not a big fan of getting rid of Crams and Ultra Balls, because these are such big thinners for the deck that if you just spend all of them now, you don't have much in future. And there's not much else Rab needs this turn. He's able to find this Forest Hill Stone for a following turn, but really didn't feel like he needed anything else here. And wow, is he even going to go for the Forest? like, what else do you even need here? You've played supporter. Well, going for a Lost City, that's an interesting one. So possibly he's going to block slide the active here if he's prioritizing the Lost City. We'll see what he goes for. I have to feel like if he's prioritizing this Lost City, then he wants to go through the active and just deny altogether. Yeah, see, I much prefer going for the draw power here. I feel like you're not ever going to just run them out of resources when you hit for weakness. And look at this, Jack straight away has level ball, is able to sort of get into the game a little bit because of it. Maybe you're hoping that Jack's start was so weak that you could still get over the line, but man, I really feel like going for Ralts there was the strongest option. Jack's going to refine away Flamigo. That's the third Wings card in the discard pile. He could attach to Ditto again, because I believe he only has Flamigos in there right now. You can see a research. Possibly a little surprising not to see an attachment to the active, just to get some damage in. Yeah, as we can see, just 3 right now for Jack. I think he has drawn into Ultra Ball though, so he could get that Murkrow into the discard pile to fulfill Ditto's attack cost. Yeah, so that's getting us to 5. That's 100 damage with Ditto. Not enough to deal with this Ice Cube, but is at least enough to get another Ralts developed. Man, having to 2-shot through an Ice Cube can't feel great. Just going to grab a Manaphy now to protect his Curliers. Has a Darkness Energy that is going to attach to Squawk. I think I prefer attaching this to Manaphy, to be honest with you, because Rab might well just go for this Squawk anyway at some point with a Gust play. And I don't think he ever chases the Manaphy, because it's just another single prize Pokemon. He'd rather just be gusting the Curliers themselves at that point. So I think I like the Darkness Energy a little bit more on the Manaphy. You're just sort of hedging for a longer game if you go for that. But, oh, interesting. So he's going for the 10 damage attack with Murkrow to run and hide to the bench. And actually he's promoting the Squawk, giving Rabby a potential 2-prize play here for free. Jack on a 2-card hand. So Rab doesn't have to go for any hand disruption here. With the Manaphy and the Squawk developed, Jack's basically trying to make Rab either pay Retreat of Fusion Energy off, or find for Fusion Energy to block slide through the active. See a Cram, and that gets ahead. So that could give Rab access to 4 Fusion Energy here. Or Boss's Orders, that's also an option. You could boss around the Squawk again here. I actually prefer the Fusion Energy, to be honest with you. If you go Fusion, you just hit through the active with Ice Cube. See a Vacuum. Just lowering that hand size once again for some Genesect draws. Yeah, really debating this boss. Is going for the Curlier now. It's just such a weird priority of ordering where you easily could have block slid this Ralts before it became a Curlier, and then you gust a 2-prize it away to then take out the Curlier. It's just such a weird order of operations to do things. Also, just getting second Fusion Energy on your bench Mew is also just like pretty good, I think. Regardless, Jack's on a 2-card hand, and the Curlier's found its way into the Lost Zone. I think Jack has access to another Curlier via the Rescue Carrier that he has right now. As we see a level ball for Wattrel. That's going to hand. Jack can discard it either with Serena or the Curlier that is getting back now. And this will... Yeah, Serena for 5 cards. Jack has the knockout secured with his Wings. Another Wattrel finds its way in there, so that's 6 now. Or possibly 7. Yeah, it looks like it is 7. Not much else going on for Jack, I don't think. He might be a little bit worried that he's not been able to bounce this city, so he doesn't want to proactively put down these Murkrows. Although we are going to see a Nest Ball for 1 right now. Then we're going to see Hisuian. That's going to give Jack access to a Ralts. The deck does play a 3-3-1-1 Gallade line, so there should be another Curlier still rattling around in the deck somewhere. Actually, okay, interesting. So does have that Collapse Stadium, and this is where I'd like the Dark Energy on the Manaphy, because now you get to keep that, because your priority was to get rid of the Squawk at some point. But hey-ho, the Ditto is able to get there, and is able to take Rab's most threatening attacker, the Single Prizer, off the board straight away. Now, with Collapse developed, it might be a little bit difficult for Rab to get many draws in here. I think he had a few clunky cards in hand last turn. He's going to Nest Ball for a Meloetta. Does have some VMAX in hand as well. It's going to go for Power Tablets. Isn't able to bench the Gen. Can bounce now, though. So the City is back in play. And Rab is eyeing up Iono here before using any Genesect draws. Jack was at 4-card hand already, so the +1 isn't the worst thing in the world, I suppose, if you're just hoping to declog. So Forest Seal Stone, Power Pad, going to get back, yeah, Boss and Iono. Going to see Genesect. Quite a few switch cards there for Rab. Not sure if he's found energy just yet. Still only has one fusion on the active. Can't play the switch card because he's an evolution. He's going to retreat first, then play switch card, which locks him into attacking with this VMAX as well. So if he doesn't hit energy, he's in a lot of trouble. Has vacuum for some clearing out of the hand now for one more Genesect draw. And it again comes back to me preferring the fusion energy like 2 turns ago with that Cram Heads. Oh, wow, he hits VIP. That is really rough. He's already retreated, so he could rope now. But he's put himself in a ton of trouble. Switch and cart being spent this too. Yeah, exactly. Rab's going for his resources now as well. You can't really in good conscience even go into a Genesect here. You'd like it to be your tank, but do you ever actually move this Genesect out of the way? No, so Rab's going for the Meloetta instead here. And is just having to pass. That is really losing a lot of tempo. Could have had a potential 2-prize knockout on a Squawk, and then this turn would have had a guaranteed knockout. He could have been down to 2 prize cards remaining here. Had he taken a few different lines, whilst also Jack having like one less dig with refinement. So I think his pathing just wasn't great here. Let's see how Jack can capitalize on this though. He gets another Murkrow developed. If he can bounce the next Lost City, I think Jack's basically in a really chilled position. The single prize knockout isn't great for him here, but like all the threat of that pressure is just diminished now because Jack's got a full 1 prize board and he wouldn't be worried about City again here. And I think he does have the collapsed in hand actually. Jack going to remove the Ditto. Not too helpful when you want to be hitting for a crucial weakness anyway. Yeah, Jack can just get rid of Manaphy at this stage quite happily. Doesn't need it. Rab deciding on what he wants to get rid of. Jack having to attach double turbo to the active before research. And it's just going to retreat into the Ditto. Again, those decisions were made more difficult because there wasn't an energy on a Manaphy at the time. Both these players, like I said, there's always things you can improve on and learn about in every game of Pokemon. At the very least, Jack is leveling up the prize trade, and Rab is once again with these collapse stadiums, doesn't have many options left in terms of cycle, and I think is still sat on a really just poor hand. I think they're able to get double turbo at least, so it can start pressurizing back, but it's going to attach, okay, yeah, double turbo to the bench. Next Mew VMAX comes up. It's going to be a Boss's Orders again onto the Curlier. Going to be a draw for 1. It's yet another VIP pass, which really sucks. That's just quite unfortunate. He had gone through a lot of Ultra Balls and Crams early, though. And you have to think that those resources are so premium. They are your decloggers. You have Vacuums, Ultra Balls, and Crams. So if you're cramming away Ultra Balls, it better be for a good reason. Ram actually choosing to pass here? Not too sure about that one, to be honest with you. I don't know what he's waiting for. Like, what gets better for him by passing here? You get punished by, yeah, Boss's Orders is one thing you get punished by pretty hard. Yeah, because Jack can just do this and Gallade up. Is also able to go Curlier now. Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand the pass there, to be honest with you. Yeah, 240 with the -20 reduction. Gallade is an attacking threat in this deck as well. And yeah, I understand that Rab's hand is really bad, so it's certainly limiting his options, but I feel like there's been a few poor choices here. It's fine. He's a commentator. He doesn't actually play the game. Doesn't need to be good. He at least has judge. You have to play the judge here, right? Doesn't even play judge for some reason. Jack has a 7-card hand. You 100% play the judge there, right? Maybe he's just resigned himself to a L. I don't see it again. You literally lose this turn if Jack finds Dark Energy, right? There's 7 in there. Okay, yeah. Well, now there's 9. 9 4s. That's going to get you there. So yeah, Rab choosing not to judge either. Pretty bizarre. Some strange choices there. I think Rab could have had a better slog of things there, actually. He would have definitely been further ahead on the prize exchange. And with late game Ionos and judges, I think you still are in that mix. So even though there's the obvious, like, oh yeah, Wings rolled into Mew, and it has heavy hitting for weakness. Jack's start wasn't great. He only got a couple Pokemon into the discard pile early from going with Squawk and Flamigo. And I feel like Rab probably could have punished that slower start, especially with taking out the 1 Rolts on board and denying Jack's draw. But hey-ho, we move on. Mew goes to the loser side of things, and Wings progresses to the second round of winner's bracket.